Hello everyone, welcome back to part 2 of my How to Communicate Successfully with Schools guide. Today we're going to be looking at 2 of the more tricky obstacles that come with school communication, escalating a serious problem and finding out what the school is hiding from you. So let's be real for a second. Your child gets in the car at 3:30 or you're walking home, you ask them how the day went and they say something terrible, something awful has happened, and your parental instincts kick in, you want to get to the bottom of the problem, you want it dealt with, now you want answers. But the UK education system differentiates very strictly between a slight concern and a major formal complaint. You have to understand this hierarchy because if you skip any of the steps, you end up in a massive social standoff with the school. But not to worry, because today I'm going to guide you on the journey from school gates to school governors. And then I'll tell you what happens if you have to go a step further. And I'll even let you know why schools sometimes will refuse outright to provide any kind of evidence. But before we go any further, I just want to say that my reception readiness pack is still available. The link just here. Subscribe would be nice, but it's completely free. And next week I'm doing another video about starting reception. So yeah, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that one. Back to this week's thing. So let's start at the bottom. Stage 1, the informal complaint. This is what the Department for Education calls a concern, and this can be anything from a missing PE kit to bullying would come under this, to a clash of personality with a teacher. I've had that before. And these are really easy to deal with. This is a discussion at the school gate, maybe a very quick, can I come and see you in class before or after school. Keep it simple, keep it brief. Don't go straight to their teacher, because you'll only be told to go and see the class teacher anyway. Honestly, approach it politely, approach it with a solution in mind, and approach it with a willingness to see a resolution. Don't go there just to escalate the drama, okay? Remember from last week's video, what's your solution? What is the quickest way to get that solution for your child? Because at the end of the day, that's what it's about, making your child happier. But what if that doesn't work? What if you've gone to the class teacher, you've sent your very reasonable email, you've stated a very effective solution, but it hasn't helped? So you move on to stage 2, which is a letter of complaint to the head teacher. Now, every school, every state-maintained school in the country must have a complaints procedure on their website. It's a statutory requirement. So go to your school's website, have a look for it. It's probably buried under some tabs you wouldn't usually click. With this complaint, letter, email, it doesn't matter, they're both treated the same. Don't do what some parents do and feel the need to just pour everything into this email. They don't need an epic dating back to when your child first stepped through the gates in reception. Just like with the email to the class teacher, you want to be specific, deliberate, and precise with your language. Stick to the point. In fact, answer these 3 questions. 1. Why was the informal resolution unsatisfactory? 2. What is the specific nature of the current grievance? 3. What is your desired outcome? And that last one is vital. You have to know what you want to happen. If you don't know what you want to happen, the school doesn't know what you want to happen. They're not mind readers. The school's focus at this point should be on reconciliation. The Department for Education guidance specifically states that an apology or an admission that things could have been handled better is a vital tool. But here's the thing. An apology doesn't mean an admission of guilt. They're not the same thing. It's not a legal trap. Don't fall into that mindset of, aha, the school have apologized. The school have said, yes, things went wrong. I can now take them and sue the pants off of them. That's not going to happen, okay? It's just a professional courtesy. Take the apology, remember your solution, and move on. All about resolution, it's not about drama. You sent your email, you made sure it's really precise and specific, you've listed what you want to happen, you've got an apology from the head teacher and an admittance of wrongdoing, but you're still not happy. What do you do then? Then you escalate to stage 3, which is a formal hearing in front of a panel. People get worried about this because they think it's like a judge and a court case and old wood-panelled rooms, but it's not. It's 3 volunteers drinking terrible coffee. And there are a few things about these meetings that you absolutely have to bear in mind. 1, it's not a legal thing. Don't bring representation, don't bring a lawyer. If you bring a lawyer, the school will bring a lawyer, and all of a sudden it's not about getting the best outcome for your child, it's about winning. The second is moral support. You are absolutely entitled to and encouraged to bring a friend with you, someone who can make notes, someone who can be a little more grounded, someone who's a little more emotionally distanced from the problem. And trust me, you'll need that. You will be in a high-stress, high-emotional situation. If things have gotten this far, bring a friend. And the third thing you have absolutely every right to expect is independence. Especially if your child goes to an academy school, one of the people on the board absolutely must be someone who is not involved with the leadership and the running of the academy. And their role is to make sure the process is fair. And this brings us to quite a sensitive topic, and one that I'm sure you're thinking of and other people think of. Can you record the meeting? Now in the UK, there is absolutely no law that says you can't record a private meeting. However, you have to be careful. These meetings are still private, and recording them overtly or surreptitiously can lead to problems. If you share those meetings on social media or even with other parents, you could run into serious legal problems. Imagine a meeting is going on. It's tense, but things are slowly getting resolved, and then just at the last minute, despite the fact that things have reached a resolution, the parent feels that maybe they're going to go in for the kill and they whap on their phone. Bam! Haha, suckers, I've been recording this the whole time. You guys are going down. You'll be cancelled by tomorrow. This will be all over TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. Well then, everything shuts down. The school just outright stops. Nothing can go further. Their unions won't allow it. Their lawyers won't allow it. You've just shot yourself in the foot. It's not worth it. Not if you want a solution instead of the drama. And it should always be about the solution. And this is why you have a friend with you, so that they can make notes. And be honest about it. Say to them, look, I'm going to record this meeting if that's okay with everyone, because I want to be able to reflect on it later. Understand they might ask you not to, in which case your friend's just going to have to make notes or you can make notes. But whatever you're doing, just be open and honest about it, because at the end of the day, it's about reaching that conflict resolution. That should be the aim. Always remember, that is the point. It's not about winning. It's about making sure your child has the best possible outcome. So that's the escalation journey. You talk to the teacher, you keep it informal if it's just a concern. 90% of everything you'll ever encounter can be dealt with in this way. If that doesn't work, you escalate it a little bit further. You go to the head teacher and you talk about things there. And if that doesn't work, you go to the Board of Governors, you make a very formal complaint, and things get a lot more serious. Like I say, hopefully you'll never get to that. And if you do get to that end and you want some help, drop me a message. Go to my website. There's a dedicated page where you can drop me a message and I can help you. I've helped people before. I've got templates and emails and stuff. But like I said, it won't go that far. However, what happens if you've sent all the letters, you've all the things, but you want to see some evidence? You want to see CCTV footage of the incident that you're complaining about? Well, now we hit some real friction. If you want to see some physical evidence, if you want to see notes from an incident book or a report written by a school counsellor or even CCTV footage, the school has every right to flatly refuse. They can't just say no. This is the information vault. It's a common misconception that having parental responsibility automatically grants you access to your child's data. It does not. Schools are bound by GDPR and safeguarding duties. But you have two distinct legal rights. So the first applies to schools in England that are maintained by a local authority. So that's not academies and not free schools. You can request to see, in writing, your child's educational record. And the schools have 15 days to produce this document in writing. If your child's at an academy or a free school, then you have Route 2 available to you, which is to submit a subject access request. And this is part of the Data Protection Act of 2018. All educational facilities are bound by it, so state schools, you have this as well. And schools generally are given 1 month to respond to a subject access request. It involves a lot of paperwork. It's incredibly stressful for the school. Legally, they have to do it, but here's the thing. It might not yield the results that you want, because we run into another legal nuance, which is digital consent. In the UK, children who are 13 or over are generally considered mature enough to understand their own digital rights. 13. This means that if you submit a formal subject access request for your 14-year-old, the school legally has to ask your child for permission to show you the information. And if your child says no, legally, there's nothing the school can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it. I've sat in meetings where parents get very, very flustered and offer some very choice adverbs demanding that we release this information, but legally we are not allowed. 13, 14, 15, they have the right to say no. And that's just the first little legal nuance. You might get the SAR back, your kid might say yes, or you might be asking for someone at primary school. You get back this big manila envelope, you're very excited, you rip it open, and it's full of redacted information. Big black lines crossing out most of it. And that's because of GDPR. It's not a cover-up. The school's not trying to make sure that you only know, the essential facts, and they're leaving out, but we won't say that we called Timmy a slimy little boy. No, we'll cover that up, because it's not about that. It's about, if Johnny hit Timmy in the playground, you have the right to know that Timmy was hit. You don't have the right to know that Johnny hit him. So Johnny will be covered up. You do not have the right to anyone else's children's data. So the subject access request, yes, it'll annoy the school, but is that what you want for our ultimate resolution, or will that just create even more friction? And also, you'll get it back, but it might not tell you more than you already know anyway. And the same thing applies to CCTV. This is a huge thing. The number of parents I know, just personally and professionally, that I demand to see the CCTV footage. My little Susie got poked in the eye. I want to see the CCTV footage. Where were the teachers? What's going on in the well? You know what? Unless the school has the technology and the time to digitally blur every single face in that CCTV footage, except for little Susie's, they can't show you. It's privacy laws, it's GDPR, it's child safety. You can't do it. And it doesn't matter how much you demand to see it. It doesn't matter how much you think your right as a parent grants you this carte blanche to look at whatever you want to look at. It doesn't. You can scream and shout, but it just doesn't. Now we arrive at the hardest part of this whole journey, which is child safety and child protection, the supremacy of safeguarding. There is a myth that GDPR prevents schools from sharing sensitive information with the police or with social services, but this just isn't true. Safeguarding trumps parental consent. Under the serious harm exemption, schools have to restrict access if disclosure would likely cause harm to a child, either physically or mentally, at home. And if a school initiates a referral due to concerns about situations at home, then they're often instructed by social services not to inform the parents, especially if there is a suspicion that telling the parents would cause even more harm or likely harm to the child at home. And the teachers will smile you at the gate, they'll act like nothing's wrong because they have to. They won't tell you that a social worker is building a case because they can't. And in these very sensitive scenarios, the school and the class teacher is carrying a very heavy burden, but they're doing exactly what the law requires to help keep a child safe. Now, communication is the backbone of not only civilization, but also the education system. And it only works if you understand the rules as well as the school. So there we go. Let's have a quick recap. Stage 1, a minor concern, a brief complaint. Talk to the school teacher at the school gate is usually easiest, or a quick email, again, up here if you need a reminder on how to do that. If you're not satisfied, remember what your ideal outcome is and go a step further to the head teacher. Keep it brief, keep it solution focused. If you're not happy with that, escalate it to the governors. But again, all the time, keeping that solution in mind. And way back at the beginning, make sure you have a solution. There's no point just having a complaint. You need to have a complaint and a solution. So if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed, if you're not sure where to start, my website is a good place. On the Parents tab, it has various email templates, or you can, like I said, just contact me directly and I'll do my best to help you. If not, organizations like the IPSEA are great for SEND advocacy. If you still want my reception readiness pack, it's right here. Come grab it, and I will see you next week. More reception talk next week. And remember, you can do this. You're awesome.